Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Little late. I should have, I did take a scalp in this earlier. How was your weekend? This is flying. Initially, I thought that this would have been an interesting area of interest. The AM high from yesterday and seen a little bit of a reaction. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Just blasting. We had this might just continue. Yeah, there wasn't really anything other than like I hopped in because of narrative, but I literally only took the blast up to that area of interest. So I was kind of monitoring to see what ended up happening here. And I suppose, like if we look at it, that low was 53.75, that closed at 53.75. So we did make a valid high by any means. Could have just hopped in here as well, but was setting everything up. Not an excuse, obviously, just wasn't really interested in hitting too much. We'll wait for something. Beautiful flip though, right? That occurred on Friday, and then smack. We're getting the kind of expansion. VIX. I posted this in chat as well. Why we were expecting a rally, which adds to the fuel, at least up until like the 230s, probably this SMDR, which also aligns with the midpoint of this area of interest, or just above it. So we'll see what ends up going on in here. That's a beautiful hammer candle. New 15-minute that tried selling off and now it's blasting up even higher. So expecting at least a little bit more expansion. I probably should have hit the close of that as well for a small scalp, but Monday fun day. Monday fun day. We'll wait for something a little bit more systematic. Anything other than a sweep and failure, like this at least led to a small pullback. You got your opening range now here. Mark that up as red. Would not be surprised if we had like something in here before continuing. No need to force anything, lads. That's for sure. If it makes sense and you've studied it, okay. Other than that, assuming, well, if you've been killing it, then your job's to do exactly what you were doing last week. If you've been struggling, then you better be doing some new actions this week. Otherwise, you get the same results. Good morning, Demetrius. MW, what's going on? Did not quite get the CSD video finished over the weekend. There's a lot of content with it, but we were doing a lot of planning and stuff, so. Going to patiently wait to see. This high was 20, that closed at 2025, so this is your structural candle. This is actually a valid high now, technically. Morning, Andrew. I do think we trade up into here and then equivalently the SMDR, which is higher. Would not be surprised if we swept into the 15-minute opening range and then found some support where it closed. That will be somewhere in here. We don't need to be early, as a reminder, but we do want to be right. $9.50. Man, she knows this morning. We mentioned that VIX. When VIX moves 20%, we expect a rally. 95% chance of a rally within 1 or 2 days. Wow. We're certainly getting that this morning, aren't we? 9:30 alone. And again, for no freedom model trade. No freedom model trade. We're looking at this expansion, and we're targeting much, much higher. Right? So when it starts getting going, not that it's really anything that is super systematic, but it certainly works if you're expecting an explosive move, and you get an explosive move. Well, there we go. Don't bounce like that. Hopefully this is profit taking as we get close to this opening range. There's your 5. Okay. Beautiful little flat bottom and an imbalance. Here's your 15. We expect our 15 to continue higher, at least into that zone. This might be them scaling in short, we don't know. So where's our flat bottom? Our flat bottom is actually the 1 minute as well, which I think aligns with the 15-minute opening. Sustained selling so far. Decent amount of wicks though, but still haven't hit any objectives. If this does go, it does go without me. That will be nasty if it does. What's ES doing? Speaking of, very similar. It actually has equal highs on ES. Lovely. Oh. Yeah, it probably goes, but couldn't justify it. Couldn't justify it. Even though it was a few ticks away. I like the bottoming that was going on. Just did not like that we didn't hit that 50-minute or the 5-minute or anything really objective-wise. You could argue that wick, but I mean we're guesstimating by a tick. Not for me. Do think higher, but if you guys grab that, my congratulations. It wasn't anything I was interested in systematically. More highs, more highs. That's not what you want to see from the bearish side. So I mean, buying the close of that at 14 at least for 10 points, but not really interested in a 10-point move. I don't think that that's not to say that this can't blast up. I mean, our target's kind of the mid 80s. Hey RT, how you doing, man? We've got giveaways coming in Wednesday, Thursday. Giveaways coming in on Wednesday, Thursday. You guys still liking the DTFs? I think they have a big sale going on right now, actually. Well, you guys want to stock up some accounts or whatnot? Declan Forge, I've seen you around the Discord, yes. Here's your imbalance, right? That did close above. You got 4 minutes till the turn of the hour. I think if this respects here, if it respects here, I just don't like that we left that. This very well could be something along those lines. I do think that we trade into this. This is now finally inside of this area, right? So minor target filled. I do think inside of that that area of interest is our SNDR, and that's ultimately where we're going to trade to before we tail or nuke. But yeah, I saw. I think everybody here already has some ETF accounts. Now that being a valid zone, that was probably a very good entry actually. That was a miss. That was a miss for sure. That was a miss for sure. Doing too many things. Trades back in right to the midpoint. We ended up respecting this. I wanted kind of like a little bit more of a sweep in there, but either way that ended up doing perfectly, and then away we go. Right, making a new high, and then Ideally, we trade back into maybe this and then go. We got 10 a.m. opening very, very soon, so caution. I don't think we have any news today, though. No, they are. They are. I trade with them on Ninja. Their live is, their preferred is Edge Clear, which is what the live account was. PMI tomorrow. Right? So ideally, like that should have been a long. Trading back into an area of interest, even for a scalp, that would have worked out. Obviously delivering bullish, we would have had to close underneath here, which would have been, you know, fine. But ultimately, we want this SNDR area at minimum. And where you go. And there it is. So shit. Okay. We'll wait for next. Inside the SNDR, new hourly and 15-minute opening in 30 seconds. All right, so there's your 5. Well, that's obviously not anything we want to be shorting, at least just yet. And there's your 15. Well, that's definitely much the same. Now, I do think that these targets are very, very juicy. But we're talking about a macro push here with the VIX rally on Friday. Right? Not to mention that we're looking at, if you're trying to gauge a bias and you open up your charts even at 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever, the reality is, like, as soon as we end up doing this and breaking that high, we're probably targeting this one, especially, well, we are targeting that one. You have a valid double bottom here, and then internal movement that's going to take this high. And then what follows next is you've now got this area of interest. Barring any sort of reaction from that, and you see the reaction was just disastrous for shorts. They all got squeezed. You're now trading into your next structural zone, which is this. Right? So the idea is that you guys are able to open your charts at any point in time and go, okay, we're heavily bullish, which might not mean you guys hop into longs or whatnot, but it certainly means that you should be avoiding the short side. It certainly means you should be avoiding the short side. There's a couple of beautiful 20-point trades in there, but nothing that, other than this one for that trade there, that was just a miss. Giveaway today? No. And I don't win either. So we're in the same boat, unfortunately. V. Here's your 10 a.m. There's your 5. There's your 15. And your hourly. And your hourly. Right? So this is actually, oddly enough, this is a swing. Structural swing. All shapes and sizes, don't they? All shapes and sizes. I'm going to get rid of this. I think we know that we're inside of an area of interest now. We've now tapped into the SNDR. Morning over. Saw you join the school community. What's your thoughts on it so far? A lot of beautiful psychological stuff in there. Oh, pretty much any excuse to go long works out. Pretty much any excuse to go long does work out. at least for a scalp, but no, I think the trade was this, and then expansionary here worked out, right? Something in here, perhaps even the close of the 5, and then some lift. That's more of a momentum play than anything else. Super fire, need to spend a couple of days in there. Yeah. Oh yeah. We kind of pride ourselves on a lot of the psychological stuff that you don't find pretty much anywhere. Oh yeah. Respect of this area here in the mid 40s probably sends us back down further into this zone. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in volatility on the tape, so caution. Going to monitor to see what happens around here or even up in here. I do think higher time frame push up, but this is the area where we're kind of looking at, okay, if we're going to fail or at least trade back down, that's kind of where it's going to come from. So we monitor what happens on this candle if we start getting a movement. Now this didn't trade back down, so even if it does run again, for the same reason I didn't hit anything in here, it's going to go without me, unfortunately, but them's the breaks. And the reason I pass on is because I don't want to hit this here and then endure 20 points of drawdown unnecessarily for the real move to end up happening. I don't want to get taken out that way. Right. Could justify a short, but I'm not going to short against this higher time frame PA. Right, but this is where I expect lower, but systematically, just because I expect lower doesn't mean that that I throw my system out the window. Market has a habit of not caring what we want to happen, doesn't it? Definitely not what I would like if I was short, though, that's for sure. Yeah, same. Probably until we get one move one way or the other. I think we can justify, like, if this is lethargic and we get like something like this and something like that, then maybe a double bottom inside of here would give us a 20-point banger or something like that, or potentially even run the high out. Right? Here's your high right now. That's not exactly what you want the 5 to look like. 15 still continuing. Bit of a personality candle attempting to sell off. Yeah. Like just taking a little piece of it, cool. Right? Like this feels like it wants to squeeze, but I think it needs to close above this 56 before any sort of movement attacking the high occurs in the 60s. Right? But if it comes back down, maybe if it comes back down to here, we see continued buying pressure, then fine. I'm not going to give this much room, but I think that given what's going on in here, if we're going to squeeze, I wanted a little bit more of that. We'll see if this attacks the mid-50s or if this just drops. If it just drops, I'm going to take this off. I don't want to endure potentially this. And the only reason that I'm hopping in here is because we're seeing the absence of what I want to see from the bearish side. We haven't flipped, which is all the way up here. I would have thought that we would have at least test a 56 to try and do so. If this lifts up here, then I'll probably go break even if it comes back down to 47. Yeah, should have waited for this, I think. Was expecting continuation of like of wicks up in here instead of now down 10. If this starts to accelerate, then it's just going to take me out immediately. We'll find out pretty quick. It may very well test these 20s. I was actually looking for this to trade back up into this fractal and potentially mitigate. We'll see. This is very, very aggressive, and it's probably going to take my 20-point stop. As there's just no sign of rallying or relief in here just yet. In reality, my stop, I was kind of thinking it should hold these 40s, and here we are. There we go. Okay, so we see what we get in here. If this goes, taps on this, it goes red to green, then I might consider this again, just for the movement back up. If not, then we could be looking at a potential structure break. We'll see. Now stabbing into this fractal. There goes that flat bottom. Accelerating down as well. Right, so didn't get what I want. Should have been a lot quicker. I'm going to hit that there. Want to see at least this trade up to 38. We've now taken the bullish liquidity. If we continue to fail to CSD, then we are looking for a movement at least up into here, potentially even higher. There's your 5, right? So haven't attempted the valid high yet. We'll see. And there's your 15, looking a little ominous. Don't want this imbalance respected, this one. This should have been the trade that I was waiting for. There's our tap back into our zone. I'm actually going to take that off just in case we get flush and we actually do attack the midpoint of this SMDR. But if this imbalance respects, I might take this off. We'll see. So far we're getting anything but that being respected, which means that we very well could trade up to the fractal that I wanted in the first place. Got to close above this, I think, on either this push or the next one. In theory, we should expect a reaction from this area to trade back lower. But higher time frame rally, we'll see. So we got our minimum target, which would have been the mid-30s. Tapped into that imbalance. Strong push. My stop now goes underneath this at 35. I don't want to trade underneath that. Ideally, we at least blast above here, and then potentially we've got all this liquidity as well if we want to run the highs. This has got to close above both of these, in my opinion. Okay. Well, I suppose it doesn't have to, but I would have really, really liked to see that. Woo. They're having fun. We do have a 15-minute sweep, right? So it is a credible high. I'm just playing off of the higher time frame wanting to rally. Our expectation of this is to put in a new high. Now we're getting a little bit of mitigation here because this was an unmitigated area of interest. I want to see it lift now or at least squeeze. If it fails, then I'm gone unequivocally. And we'll revisit what goes on here. Let's go. Okay, I don't think I want to see it come back to this open at 42 now. Swing, bada, 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 bada. Swing. At least 56. I want to see what happens at this open and that high of 54s. Ideally, we expand through it. There we go. And you know what? I'm going to take that off there. I think that we continue higher. I think that we do continue higher, but we'll see. Anybody ride that at least a little bit? If I was in multiple contracts, I think that I would still be. I would have taken one off and I'd allow to see to what happens with this imbalance. But I do think that that high should come on. 64. Hey, picks, beauty. No structural reason to be out of it at all. Boom. Longs was crazy today. Yeah. Yeah. We talked about this a little bit. I put it in the stream as well. We were expecting a massive rally either today or tomorrow. And if you're looking at the flip that occurred on Friday, that kind of gives us the perfect storm when you got consolidation right before the open and then we start lifting. We're expecting explosive. Expecting explosive. Here we are. Anybody besides picks? I know somebody hit that. I'd be shocked if Matt wasn't involved here somewhere. Matt and Bizram. Bizram maybe in here. Or even on this. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that if we decide to break this low, we probably break this one immediately afterwards. At the same time, very likely. And then in reality, what do we have? We've got our 50-minute opening range. So I think that we're probably, like I did expect and probably still do expect this to occur. And then if we fail here, like say even right now, this trades back up and then we flip, we trade back in. That should target this. And how fast is that going to be? How fast is that going to be? It's going to be immediate. I'm just logged in. Okay. I think it's probably like at least 950 onwards. Those of you guys that like to wait for a little bit more confirmation. Usually that's a good time to log in. Those of you guys that are looking for new accounts and all of that stuff, I think that there's probably it's a little while. I think everybody had sales on during July, and there's probably a little calm at the end of after the storm now. This failed to make a new high so far, so I wouldn't look again, even if this double bottoms and then run. This is also a structural area of interest. If we break above, assuming so, if we're going to fail, what does that mean? It kind of means that we expect a sweep if we're going to fail, because if we close up here, now we've got an area to risk off of. And we would have to break structure to trade lower. And if we did, I think that, like, say we did close up here, then essentially this better be a very violent move, because you got 1, 2, 3 protected lows. So it'd be like dominoes. If hit a good first trade, kind of only looking for A+++. Yeah, I think like that, if you're going to go short, you want this to not do what? The CSD video, I kind of go extensively into there, and I also go a little bit more in depth into the types of entries that we look for as well. This video is going to be, I thought when we did the Wombo combo video, I was like, this could be the pinnacle of our trading content. They just kind of like when we started the bullpen, hilariously, way back then, feels like, it was kind of like, wow, the candlesticks video, man. Woo, the candlesticks. And then it kind of went from there, and then the Wombo combo came out, and now I'm kind of looking back at everything now, and I'm going, okay, we're gonna do this video, and there's probably not gonna be any content videos for a while, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do weekly workshops going forward. Weekly workshops going forward. But it's actually better than what I envisioned it was going to be. So we're putting it onto school for you guys that are really doing a lot of engagement on there to help us grow it, and it is growing, which is phenomenal. So thank you guys for that are contributing. Obviously, it's going to be for you guys that are in the premium as well. Yeah, and that was kind of my fallacy in failing, especially in the initial of the bullpen, right? Where I thought that making money was equivalent to being able to articulate how to make money. And then very quickly realized, hey, making money and being a good trader is not the same as teaching. Very different. Very different. But like, how do you teach objection or objectives in narrative? That's hard. because it's so contextual and there's so much screen time. Like, we're looking at this and you're like, well, we've got two options really. Well, I suppose we have three. You have three. Your first option is this high gets ran. Right? Because this movement hasn't put in a new high, so we're not looking at rebalancing. Right? Either this high gets ran, this low gets ran, or we continue to range. And then from that context, you're kind of looking at, okay, well, how is this reacting here? I was supposed to have it done over the weekend. And I think I'm at 45 minutes already, and I still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different topics of conversation that I want to extrapolate. By the way, for those of you guys that are new to the channel or anything, when I draw these boxes out, it's areas that I expect reactions from, but it's been a long time since I've been looking for, say, 10 points here, 10 points there, whatever. So we can call little movements in the market where we expect movements to come in, but I'm not looking at taking trades out of it. It's just kind of anecdotal analysis, which in reality I suppose is kind of useless. Why have a box here for a little bit of movement or whatever if I'm not planning on taking trades from it? Really? Right. That's done. That's done. That's done. I think if we continue lower, we've got this 15-minute orb. And that's it. Right, so we'll mark these out. These are all protected lows. That's protected low. We've got beautiful little liquidity here. Beautiful little liquidity. Don't really like, I mean, price action wise, maybe after we displace finally through here on that candle at 1023. But nothing really. You guys want assignments? You guys want assignments? Test your knowledge? A little quiz? Pencils down? I think if we're going to continue lower, we respect this and then that moves. Excuse me. Me either, man. Me either. I was kind of cursed with being very intellectual and good at school. So I either finished homework in class before I went home, or I was just not interested in doing it, which did not work out very well for quite a few assignments. But the problem when you have that is that you tend to not work at anything in your youth. If things come easy, you tend to not appreciate them. Those of you guys that are making it work, that know how hard the road is to trading, right? If you know how hard that work is, and you persevere, because the universe or whatever you believe will challenge you. Matt, that was you too, Lane? Yeah. Yeah, trading is like, They say starting a business is this is probably a long here for these. 1030 potentially. Like they say starting a business is like where you really like understand your transformational, you know, where you see your weaknesses and your strengths and all of that. But man, trading is like that plus steroids plus, well, everything, really. This probably will continue higher if it can't break below this. Still sitting on my hands. Haven't taken a trade since we caught that long. I should have been patient and not tried to be fancy with these wicks. We'd be up $1,000 per account right now. $10.30, new 5, yuck. New 15, also yuck. Was respecting it here, but this sort of PA is not good enough for me. I want to know direction. A little bit of urgency coming in. Do we trade all the way back down to our 50-minute already? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Is that phonetic for how the Irish pronounce turkey? Is that how it goes? That's funny. $10.31. You see that it's starting to let go. First one is this. Second one is that. You got a bit of a wick here. Fair enough. Not looking long against this, that's for sure. Just kind of watching the dome to see what sort of acceleration happens as we take liquidity or not. I think people are making money both sides in this range, which is great. I think if we fail to continue lower, then we're just ranging in here, in which case we look to the left, and what have we got? We've got this area higher. I love the reaction we're getting here from the short side, but so far that's just generating a range and just sideways. You would expect potentially this to trade back down into our higher time frame area of interest. But if it fails, I mean, we could be looking at this midnight area here, and then potentially even the overnight highs from Thursday. But when she wants to go, we should know, one way or the other. Right? We're getting these spikes, and then the reaction is sideways. That's not good enough for me. Right? I want something similar to this where we expect to squeeze. Right? And people will scale in, right? That's failing underneath there. We want to see displacement through. But this is a range. We know that it's a range because we made a valid high And when do we make a valid low? Made it, that high being 41.75. That closed at 42. Now that closed inside of there, so you'd really look at this. And our expectation was that this makes a new high. And once it failed to do so, and you can quantify that really there, now all of a sudden we're playing ping pong. Ping pong on liquidity principles. People will be looking at taking shorts only to liquidity areas, longs to liquidity areas. We didn't take that yet. Why? Additional information. What kind of information? You've got a high, you got highs, you got a high, a high, a high, a high. All right. All being nicely generated, right? ES already ran it. So you got quite a bit of SMT there. Just to throw another bit of confusing stuff in. Patience pays. This being our balanced area of interest, at least so far. In reality, you're kind of looking at this here, being your major inflection point. We muscled through this imbalance. So we play ping pong, people taking 10-15, people taking 10-15, people selling quickly. Get rid of all this nonsense. Another new 5-minute. Inside of this garbage. Engineering highs. Not what you want to see, these failures in the 15. Bullish structure. Like Matt mentioned earlier, I think that it's better to wait for quality longs. Right? As in, we're sort of risk on for longs. But if we're looking at shorts, we've got no real reason this to trade back down. That makes sense, because if we're taking short positions, you've got your area of structure. If we get a flip here, what's our objective? Let's trade back down to that zone. How many times have you guys seen that? Right? And then once we get this is no longer a short here, because we've achieved our objective. What you get is probably something like this, and we run the high. At least that's your expectation. That's where structure pairs with our narrative and our delivery. So hopefully you guys are sitting on your hands, not trying to force too many trades. What an opportunity for all of you, right? At least read the price action of the candles when you're expecting a squeeze, which is now. Because we're attempting to sell off. This wasn't an attempt to sell off. This was straight buying, which was then multiple bear bars on either side. Usually, that's going to lead to lower prices. Usually. In theory, I could go long right here and probably have a decent chance of making money, but my stop would have to be underneath this low. Not really willing to do that. I think a stall candle and we squeeze to the mid-60s. This ends up being 10-30 manipulation, right? Where your 15 opens, trades lower, sweeps this one, and then we're essentially targeting the high. And if we target the high, I think we take both of these. Right? Technically, you flipped. Well, is that a bear bar? No. So technically, you flipped closing above this. Not the sexiest of trading days, by any means. But I would be a little bit surprised if we had much lower. So we'll see. Not exactly a stall candle. We'll see if this one forms an inside bar or not. Beautiful. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Not really liking this PA at all. Would have potentially considered something if we continue to range here, but this just threw everything off. Not to suggest this is like we're now at the midpoint of this current swing. We can pretty much analyze anything 6 ways to Sunday, but the reality of it is that this is, I mean, that's, you could really loosely say it's systematic that we flip, but we're inside of a range, so it's not like we're really looking for flips, right? Once we get information that it's a range, we're not really looking like, I mean, this in fairness was a movement down. We've now flipped bullish, but I think we either wait for something in here for a decent movement, or I just sit on my hands waiting for a decent and violent short opportunity. Yeah, I agree. Happy I hit the long. Happier that I took it off in here. Right? I'd probably still be sitting in this unless it took this low if I was looking for a swing. But back down into that balanced area. Let's see if we can hold it or not. Ooh. Ooh. What's our 50 looking like? Nasty business. We actually swept that and then came back down for it again before it closed. Ooh, we could be heading to 214. You got it. That's not really the best imbalance, but I think that we trade into this, maybe even that low that we were talking about earlier, this 90, or what was that, 89? 89s. Didn't position myself short. I think if this fails here, then we really continue lower quick. People are looking for any reason to suggest that it's not a range anymore. Right, so we flipped and then we flipped back. That's nasty. Hard streaming on these days. Yeah, there's the respect. We should take at least this low, and then you probably will come for this one straight afterwards as well. Streaming these days is rough. Literally half asleep, half a seat leap type PA, and then surprise. VIX still above 18, that's good. Still blasting lower. We've got these. You got that one, and then you got your 15-minute. Again, like this would have been an aggressive idea for a short. You're basically betting that the range is done, and you're expecting this volume to support price trading lower because people will mitigate their longs that they've been in basically since 10 after 10, including us that were involved here. The challenge being that if you short expecting a protected low to go, in general, that's not the best idea, is it? Unless you get a higher time frame reason for it to snap. Now, this isn't a protected low, this one is. And I think that both of these will get taken. Whether we fail on the new 15-minute or not, well, we're going to find out very, very quick. Right? We're going to find out very, very quick. This, in reality, is your 15-minute low. We've been inside of a range of this candle the entire morning, so I would expect a reaction to come from this. I'm kind of waiting to see if we get anything from 97s. Ooh, that's pretty decent. We've taken both. Oh, did I miss that? I think I might have. Son of a bitch. Not quite high enough. I think that it'll likely trade back up into here if it wants to rally. That is, we're gonna find out if it closes above this candle that took liquidity at 10:45. I should have marketed in that instead. I should have marketed in that. Son of a bitch. Let's see if we get anything back down to 20s. 20s or lower. Oh, we got a little bit of SMT too. Beautiful. Top of that wick is 21.5. I think we just hit that as well. Oh my God. Missed the re-entry as well. Lovely. Just a full masterclass on failure. I thought that this was going to test that open, and it hit 21.5. That low actually did hit 21, so we did tap back into that, fulfilling our objective, and then that's when the expansion started, and here we are. I do fully expect this to take a 15-minute high at least, and then you've got just a cascade of highs as well that we could run. I literally should just market it in there in the low 20s. You've got internal movement, so essentially you're looking at sort of this, which we're completely disrespecting. And I think if we disrespect this, then we're just going to blast. There's yet another sweep. This was a bullish candle, so the flip happened there as well, and I just completely missed that, which is idiotic. Did anybody grab this at least in my stead? That's some profit taking there, yes, but I do expect us to take that high. Beautiful biz round. Yeah, I'm gonna hop in at much higher than I would expect. We're gonna find out what goes on, but I do expect higher. And hopefully this traps a bunch of shorts and we just continue to expand. I want kind of a stall candle here ideally, and then running out all of this. Otherwise we continue to trade lower to that orb, or that 15-minute, and then we'll find out. Yeah, this very well. I mean, this is a very poor spot to enter, and it's going to take me out for 10 points. Looks like. Yep. Let's see if we make a valid high. If we fail, then okay. This is nasty inside of a range. I can't believe I missed that and took a loss there now as a result. We'll see what we get. We did fail. Well, no, we didn't fail the CST. We got that. You got your 5, which is beautiful, trading back in now. But we didn't take a 15-minute high either. What an unload. Wow. Accelerating, can't take this now. Yeah. Punishing me for a poor entry. Fine. We'll see if we get 96s or what we get. Wow. Wild and fun. I think this just ran people's stops yet again. This ends up closing bullish, then fine. Wow. Okay, want expansion. I don't want that imbalance respected, otherwise we're trading down lower into that 15-minute. This is obviously quite violent. But that looks to me like it's a stop run of epic proportions. This can tap back down, but I want this to expand, otherwise I think we're in trouble. Yikes. Okay. Nasty business. Didn't even trade back up into here. Was expecting that. We'll see if we get the opening range now, and I'm not taking anything else. This to me was a stop run. Bullish candle, massive sweep underneath all these 15s. Was expecting a lot higher, didn't get it. Failed to flip back, so I like that a lot. Just didn't quite get even 10 points out of it, which is gross. So waiting for 97s here and possibly even this 89. And if it doesn't take it and it just ran back down, then It's got me, but that is what it is. $10.53, we could be looking at something at maybe a new 5-minute candle, maybe 11 o'clock. I think that if we're going to rally, this would have been a little bit more explosive. I don't think that we're going to chop around in here without taking this low and then our objectives. Otherwise, this would have blasted. And if it does, it's lower probability and I'm not involved in it. That's fine. Very, very violent. We'll see what we get from this. Again, trading into that SNDR, this would be the expansionary movement that we're looking for, but looking for some sort of failure inside of this. New 5-minute opening in 8 seconds. That was just nasty, what happened there. Shocked that I missed both of these proper entries. I actually got involved in the 20s. I should have been down here in the 10s and had a nice 20-point move. There goes one low. Didn't quite make it down to 97 yet. Here it goes. Back into that opening range, and my goodness. Aggressive trade, not waiting for a flip. I want it to expand now, otherwise I'm going to take a small loss here. Okay, it's got to go now. Otherwise, this is not a stop run, and we're really risk on for longs, which I'm not interested in holding on for a while. $10 seconds. If this closes bearish, I think this is going to get ugly. Attempting to rally and not, which is concerning. And that closed bearish, okay. And this is probably going to take us out. 10-point stop, of course. Oop, third sweep, maybe. Not liking this as much as I did initially with the initial sweep. Again, aggressive trading. Buying in an area where I expect pressure. And if it doesn't generate anything, then fine. But this is where I want to be involved in an aggressive trade, and then we'll see if we end up getting an expansionary movement up. Otherwise, we're really looking at cratering. This is what I wanted, that 15-minute, but if it's not ready yet, we're going to know very, very quickly. And we'll probably know in the next 10 to 15 seconds. Closure above this is good. We then will attempt here. And looking for a pretty big expansion. Really good candle. Want an attempt to sell off, and if it can't, then great. Oh. Okay, this needs to lift now or I'm flat. and I'm flat break even regardless. $10 seconds, 10:58. We got a new hourly opening very, very shortly. That hourly might drive higher. We failed to trade up into this balanced area, so there's that potential as well. Like that candle a lot. We'll see if we get a squeeze. But we gotta close above this. That's the impulse down where the low was taken. And ideally, if we close above this, we don't want to close inside of this candle either. $14 seconds. New hourly in 10 seconds. Do we lift or do we drop back down? $14s, $15s, lift, 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 lift. Otherwise, this could be running those lows and then rallying potentially, or just cratering down. One of the two. Got to get back up over this 11 area. Otherwise, this is in danger and we're probably going to get stopped out break even. As we are just offloading here on this new hourly open, I'm going to take that off. Probably could have taken 10 points in there. Really don't like a lot of this. Technically a flip. Just didn't like the severity which this was moving. We still got this 89 area lower. There it is. And we'll see. We'll see if that was finalization or not. That very well could have been the sweep that I should have been waiting for, that 15-minute. Ooh. I think I will take if this drops back down. Expecting that to be done now. And at least trading above this and then here at 28s. And expecting a stop run. This is our final objective. If we're going to continue higher at all, we've still stacked all of this. And I want to be involved long if we're stop running, obviously. Closure above here we can consider adding. But we need a closure above here for this to be valid. There's our push. Got to close above. Got to close above. Happy I took that off. Could have done much better in terms of the profits. Right? So 1550 is what we need for a closure. Definitely don't want it closing inside of either of these. Also not interested in 10 points. Which was the idea with this as well. We got our sweep. We got our flip. Ideally, that would have expanded. Closed at 15.5, right at the high. We'll see if we get a little bit of a lift. This is a major candle, which I think has a lot of liquidity above 28s. If necessary, I'll allow this to come back break even, but I'm thinking that we get... if we get a closure above, especially if this expands, then we're looking very, very nice because we got a lot of liquidity here. Some aggressive trading, yes. We've got this. I think that we've got that high. We've got closure, so we could look to add to our position if it comes back down into here. Right, be looking at this sort of imbalance at 14.25. They could be scooping. Right, we've left this area. This is now an area of interest. We've got the midpoint of this zone, which we just tapped into, so a little bit of danger, in fairness. All right, there's our imbalance. I'm going to... And again, I want this target of 28s. Displacement through this, and we invert, then I take my position off flat. But I'm looking at opening range. We've now taken 15-minute key lows, right? We've been inside of this candle the entire morning. So it stands to reason if we fail both sides, then we can at least take something up in here, maybe even in the 50s. But if they're scooping, and getting people interested longs up in here, then I'm not terribly interested in that running anymore. We'll see. So we're looking to see if we get a closure underneath this 11 or so. Obviously, it's a little bit more violent than I would have liked. Accelerating as we drop, not great. 12 seconds left in this candle. We'll see what the volume does inside of this this imbalance or not. We have a flip, so I'm happy with that. Right? But just not really wild about how it's delivering so far. We'll see. We need to expand through this now, otherwise we're in trouble. Just not getting anything, at least so far. Multiple triggers in the system. So happy with the idea. Add could have been a little bit better. Yes, absolutely. But if we're not getting any lift, then we're going to want to be out of this very quick. Okay, if this rallies back up into here, then my stop goes underneath this 204. Okay, not a good closure underneath that. Still technically valid, but just not liking the delivery off of that low. And last area of interest that it can bounce from, 297s. Should be out of this, but here we are. You know what? I'm gonna take that off. Okay. Very, very rough. Scooped, got us interested long. I added, and just not playing ball. Let's see if it comes back down to here and it does us dirty, and then eventually runs that high. I still think that we're going to run all of this today, but just not behaving very nicely. We just took that off. And it's already up 10 points, so we'll see. Man, that's rough. We actually got two flips in there. This flipped here, then ran that low. Still inside of a range. This is one giant range. That is gross. And then we flipped again, traded back down all the way. No respect of the midpoint. Well, I suppose technically, if you look at this, it eventually did, that candle, and eventually ended up closing up in there. But not the delivery that I would expect in terms of trading back down, some sort of fitness business, and then taking these 20s or 30s. So didn't like that at all. Didn't like that at all. So now I have to sit on my hands and wait. Yeah, I think that still want to be looked to position longs for this, but not involved now. We'll see if this ends up respecting this. And the 15, again, looking at that 15-minute low, wanting to be positioned here, just not getting the delivery that we liked. As long as this ends up holding, this very well could sweep again, but we're inside of a range and we expect expansion. Just not getting the delivery we want. We'll let you guys go for the morning. It's after 8 a.m. now, and my win rate drops drastically. I'm not liking how this is delivering at all, so I don't think taking shorts or longs from this is going to really be anything with an edge for me. So I'm going to walk for the morning with bearishness and the P&L, and yeah, we'll see if we grab a noon curve long, which then eventually runs this long. So we'll chat with you guys in a little while. Bye 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 bye.